Okay, so in the last video, I spoke about love bombing and rushing intimacy. And to a lot of people, if you've never had this happen to you, it comes across as very sincere. It really comes across that you, like I said, you've met your soulmate. And if the narcissist is very charming, your friends and family are probably going to feel the exact same way. They're going to think, wow, this person's so they're so great. The second narcissist I dated, his name was Steve. Everybody loved him, loved him. My friends did, my family did, I did. You know, it was, everybody thought, wow, you know, you're just so lucky to have this guy. He's so funny and witty and charming and handsome and the whole package. But he was really a wolf in sheep's clothing. So I wanted to read you this story that I came across so you can kind of see a victim's perspective. Now, I found this story on it was like a sweepstakes entry for weddings. So people would submit their story of how they met and why they should win this dream wedding. And here's what this woman said. And so see what you think about this, and then I'll tell you what I think about it. So the title of it is Lost and Found, which is a red flag right there, right? It says, I met my fiance, we'll call him John. I met my fiance John at the lowest point in my life. I had hit bottom. I had taken in a roommate to help make ends meet. Her husband had started becoming violent and wouldn't leave my apartment, and the cops weren't much help. So I had to look for help as quick as possible to get my kids out of that situation. I had been in an abusive relationship for 5 years the year before, and I wasn't putting my kids through that again. The only place that would help us was a domestic violence shelter in my town that helped the homeless and women and children in abusive relationships. I left everything behind that same day. I grabbed my kids, my clothes, and a few things that had memories and left everything behind. I was a mess and felt like such a failure. As I was sharing this with my friend, she recommended a dating site that I should try where she had met someone. I wasn't too fond of the idea, but I tried it anyhow. After signing up, I get a message a few days later from a guy saying, "Hi, I'm John. How are you?" We went from talking for hours to not being able to be one day apart. I know everyone says love at first sight doesn't exist, but I beg to differ. First time we met, I knew, capital letters, knew, he was the one I was waiting for my whole life. 3 months after we met, he had us in a 3-bedroom apartment. It was the nicest place me and my kids had ever lived. We went from having nothing and being so alone to being found and loved beyond anything we'd ever experienced. God knew I needed him and he needed me. When I read that, it gave me chills because what she is describing there, I think is love bombing and it's rushing intimacy, and those are some huge red flags. The fact that she describes herself as lost tells me that she's lonely. You know, it sounds like she didn't have a lot of options. She didn't have a good footing in her own life. And, you know, here comes Prince Charming, right? And these kinds of guys, assuming that, you know, he is a bad guy, there could be the chance that he's a perfectly normal guy and that they're going to be happily married and happily ever after. But I seriously doubt it. I just have seen this too many times from working in a domestic violence shelter. You know, Prince Charming more often than not tends to be Prince Harming. Okay. And when people move this fast, it's very rarely a good sign. So here she is, you know, she's incredibly vulnerable. She's probably scared. She's living in a shelter, and this guy comes along. They start talking intensely right away, hours. The first time she met him, she felt that, you know, that whole soulmate connection, that he was the one for her. And within 3 months, they were all living together and they were engaged. That is textbook love bombing, rushing intimacy, narcissist behavior. I am so sad and scared for this woman, and she's already got a history of an abusive relationship. This is another thing. Okay, so a lot of victims, if they've been in an abusive relationship, especially if it's like physically abusive, those types of people, if they are a narcissist, tend to be more overt or obvious. They are the ones that come across as the opposite of the Prince Charming type. They come across as absolute jerks. They're very selfish. These are the kind of people that are rude to the waitress, you know, that don't hold doors for you, that, you know, kick the dog and yell at the kids, kind of a guy. So when women go through a relationship like that, they are on high alert for any of those behaviors. And they can spot another controlling jerk like that right away, but they don't have these charming guys on their radar. And what breaks my heart is when I was working at the domestic violence shelter, I used to teach classes on the warning signs of abusive people. I was never taught, until I went through it personally, I was never taught the signs of more of like covert narcissists. I was never taught about love bombing or the whole Prince Charming complex, or that abusive men could be kind and humble and, you know, everything that you need them to be and likable. I was never taught that. So I, in turn, never taught those signs to other women. And so, you know, especially if a woman's been in a physically abusive relationship and the guy's been a jerk, she's going to be even more attracted to this Prince Charming kind of guy, and he's going to lure her in. And then once he has her, you know, then the relationship, it can just get really bad, and it goes through those stages that I talked about in a previous video of the idealize, devalue, discard, and it goes round and round and round, and it's crazy making. And I'll talk more about that in another video. But pay attention to these red flags. They are red flags. You know, do not let anybody convince you otherwise. Normal, healthy people do not move at this pace. Slow down. You are an adult and you are in charge of your life, and you take things at the speed that you want to take things. Do not let anybody push you into doing anything that you're not okay with. So, okay, with that said, if you'd like to learn more about narcissists or sociopaths, psychopaths, and now antisocial personality disordered people is what they're called, you can find me on my website. I will put a link down here. It's narcissistsupport.com, or you can find me on Facebook with my support group there. It's Narcissist Support, and I will also put a link down here. I hope to see you soon. Take care. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, frustrations, there's a bug. I guess it really is springtime around here. Or if you have any ideas or anything, let me know. And or if you want to see certain videos made, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to see what I can do. Okay, thanks. Have a great day. Bye.